Back inside Shelton High School as they go through the participating athletes in this matchup between the Cheshire Rams and the Ridgefield Tigers, taking on one another for the right to the Class L Boys High School Volleyball State Championship. Francesco Graziano alongside. I'm Sean McGrath. Francesco, let's take a look at the path of the Cheshire Rams to get to this. As we all know, they've won 44 straight matchups. And in this Class L Boys High School Volleyball Tournament, they had a first round bye. Then in the quarterfinals, they took care of business, beating Amity, the number 9 seed, 3-0. Then in the semifinals, they beat Glastonbury 3-0, who was a 5 seed, to advance to this state championship game. And for Cheshire, obviously, they're rolling right now. Not just by the streak that they have going on, which is very historic, but they haven't given up a game here in the state playoffs.
They've won 4 of 5 SCC titles, 4 straight regular season titles. They've only dropped 8 games the whole year. Yeah, you talk about it. They have such a great lineup where they have 100 kills for 5 players, but they also have such a team game that, importantly on defense, they're not going to drop games, and that's what's really kept them to this point all year. Tonight, it's just about finishing all those accomplishments, bottling them up all into one category as a champion for the second time in a row.
And as they're introducing the Ridgefield Tigers, they are the number 3 seed in their path getting here. They had a first round bye. Then in the quarterfinals, Ridgefield beat number 11 seed Xavier 3-0. Then in the semifinals, they beat number 2 seed, mind you, Ridgefield, the number 3 seed, Staples, who's a powerhouse in boys high school volleyball. They beat them 3-1 to advance to the state championship game.
You think Staples has been in the last 6 finals except for this year, and that's why, because of Ian Ward and Ridgefield being able to knock them out and get them out of this game. They had to get a tremendous amount of revenge for losing twice against them in the year, and they took care of that. Now on to different business, taking down that 44-game match streak. And as we talked to the assistant coach of this team earlier, telling us that they have to play by point and just focusing and trying to get that win.
Lidiana Sebre is the Ridgefield head coach. For the Cheshire Rams, it's Sue Bavone, also the head coach for the excellent Cheshire girls high school volleyball program. And for the Cheshire Rams, they come into this matchup according to the CIAC tournament bracket at 20-0. For Ridgefield, they come in at 18-2. And Ridgefield, the 2 times they've lost this year were to Staples, but then here in the state tournament in the quarterfinals, they avenged those 2 regular season losses and come up with that big victory. So if you got to pinpoint one thing, we know Cheshire with all their accolades and the winning streak and so on and so forth, but for Ridgefield, they're sort of riding a little bit of a wave, a little momentum after taking down the storied program in Staples.
Well, for them, they've lost 12 games all year, which is about average for a very successful team. Still great, but losing those sets only came against Staples and Darien, so they've played the tough teams. It gets them ready for a game like this. Obviously, this is an all-world caliber team in high school volleyball for Cheshire, but Ridgefield will be ready to take that experience, and listen, they're going to only focus on this game, not the ones in the past. They're just going to use those as tools for the future and trying to be a champion for the second time in history.
Well, in Class M, we already have a state championship. Newington winning their first state championship in Class M. Here in Class L, that's still undecided as they're going to go through the starting lineups for Ridgefield. Ian Word, a 6-foot senior outside hitter, will be one of those starters. Carl Limpedov, the libero, will be starting as well. And along with William Gold, an outside hitter, 6'1" senior, along with Christopher Bruno. Also starting for them, Kevin O'Rourke, along with James Alvarez. And for the Cheshire Rams, Nate Howard, 6'11", can't miss him out there, starting for the Cheshire Rams. Along with Evan Colicia out there as well, their libero, getting the start here today, and Tyler Swigard. And there he is, number 27, Ryan Cuppernell. We highlighted him in the open. And there's Ray Brumlevy with an excellent entrance for Cheshire as well. And also starting for them is Matt Ward and James Planishek for the undefeated Cheshire Rams.
You mentioned in our open tonight as you closed it out that the matchup problems that Ridgefield poses could be a problem for Cheshire to get their second championship. But wasn't it funny how, to finish that statement up when we talked to Sue Bavone, she finished that up by saying, and of course they don't have a matchup and they can't deal with Nate Howard.
Yeah.
And how do you deal with 6'11"?
Well, I also said to her while we were talking to her, I said, Coach, I don't think anyone has anyone to match up with Nate Howard, who's 6'11".
And you're talking about somebody who's coming off their best game of the year at the right time. 14 kills and 5 aces in the semis. Watch out for Nate Howard, but Nate Howard's the kind of player that they have to get involved. He's also very good. We have to understand that individually, but with a player like that, it's harnessing his energy and making it work in the team. LaDania Sabir is the Ridgefield Tigers head coach. Sue Bavone, as I mentioned, Cheshire. As the teams will shake hands, let's get our officials. The two line judges are Ed Adijan, and our other line judge is Frank Lancaster. Up in the tower is Shirley Brewer, and the R2 across the way on the other side of the net is Danielle Ray. So once again, Francesco Graziano alongside I'm Sean McGrath here on CPTV Sports as we get set to get things going here in the Class L Boys High School Volleyball Championship game. Student section, numbers-wise, in favor of Cheshire, but we'll see who can bring more passion as we go throughout. Always tough to deal with when the opposing crowd throws a "we can't hear you" at you, but Cheshire's allowed to do that because they brought the fans. On the other side, you got Ridgefield, very exciting, and they're going to have to bring it up and prove that, hey, down in that part of the state, we're not the yuppies that everybody thinks that we are.
And for Cheshire, when they came into this building, they came in like they were in the movie Remember the Titans. We are the Rams, the mighty, mighty Rams, as they were making their way, the student section, into Shelton High School.
Let's not give all the team all the credit out there on the floor. They have played very well, but the fans will you to that point if you can captivate them, certainly at any point in the season.
So we go through some last-minute preparations, getting things going on the serve. Will be Christopher Bruno for Ridgefield, 6-foot senior. Getting things going here in the Class L State Championship game. And there's your first look at a hit from Nate Howard. As Boomlevy was fighting that off. And then the first point of this game goes to the Ridgefield Tigers.
Hey, but on that play, you have Nate Howard, who's 6'11", diving to the floor. That's what we want to see, and we want to see that throughout the game.
Coach Subovonis told us he is extremely athletic for his size.
And he really is, and you saw it there on the play. Those outside hitters today, watch out for them here in Ward. That's a nice kick right there.
Yeah, a kick to keep it alive by Griffin Jones, but unable to keep it going as it traveled out of bounds. Carl Lipunov was there to knock it out of bounds, and then there, after kicking it moments ago, Griffin Jones making it a 2-1 game here in game one.
And we talked about how Cheshire had 5 players with at least 100 kills. You were talking about over 600 kills between 4 players for Ridgefield, which is impressive in its own right, and that's what's gotten them to this point.
That one travels out of bounds off the hit from James Planishek. The senior too strong on that, and a 2-point lead for the Tigers. Here's Kevin O'Rourke. That's going to go out of bounds, and Ridgefield will score again. So Chester, the Rams, sort of a little out of cohorts right now. As they're down by 3, 4-1.
And Boomlevy just not in the right position with a punch there. He normally takes care of those rather easily, so maybe just the pregame jitters that we were talking with Sue Bavone about.
And Boomlevy able to set up Nate Howard, the senior, from the outside.
Do not want to make him angry. I don't think you'll like him when he's angry.
Actually a very nice young man there, and Nate Howard.
But again, if you want him to win and you want the team to succeed, he's got to manage it, and he's got to get angry. And like I said, he's got to manage that.
That one just pushed across there by Evan Calicia, and then off the arms of Ryan Cuppernell, and another point for the Ridgefield Tigers. They're rolling right along here in game one, up by 3.
Hey, look at Will Gold. He's backing up his excitement. A lot of intensity. We've seen a lot of celebration coming out of him right now. We talk about him, the second best kill artist on this team at about 2.4 a game, 14 kills in the semis and 10 in the FCIAC finals. Something you need to see him continue today.
The red hair of Evan Calicia. So Calicia at that point, his team down by 2. Here's Nate Howard. That goes off the shoulder of Nate Howard. And a very enthusiastic William Gold on the side of the Tigers.
Willing his team to these extra points. Seems to be the leader in the communication front for this team. But again, it's going to be all about that positioning for these guys. They're going to want to set up on the serve. But importantly, you want to react and you want to make sure that your Terminator is organizing everybody.
Here's Eric Palmer. First time we've seen Ryan Cuppernell get a hold of the ball there. Well, Cuppernell digs that out. And a block on the side of Ridgefield. A violation, it looked like, on William Gold. So the serve and the point goes to the Rams.
And that time, Brumlevy just doesn't seem like he's into it, but it didn't matter because of the violation. He'll get into it. Him and Cuppernell on that front line right now just need to worry about getting on the block.
And there's the point for Ridgefield, as they will get the serve back here in game one.
Positive play there for Cheshire. We wanted them to get on the block, and they certainly did right there with Matt Ward and Brumlevy. Just get into the position for now. The rest will work itself out.
Cuppernell, count it.
Power shot.
So now on to serve will be Matt Ward. That's blocked off on the dig by Ward. It bounces back over for a point. Sue Babone even getting up after that one and cheering on her team.
What a sequence of plays there. You talk about that nifty pass that was a setup that was surely destroyed on the block there, but then, wow, the dig was just amazing.
Ryan Cuppernell came up to try to block that shot away from William Gold. Point will go to Ridgefield. They're up by 2, 8-6, just underway here in game number 1 of the Class L State Championship game of boys high school volleyball.
A great start for Ridgefield because right now they've been able to maintain the lead.
Cuppernell, that shot fought off by Leah Punov. And that one sneaks across the other side of the net in between Kevin O'Rourke and the mesh.
Doing a good job of going sideline to sideline there, pushing him out. William Gold having to contend with it. Just couldn't do enough. The rest of the crew couldn't for Ridgefield. And that's where Cheshire finished them off for that point.
Ray Brumlevy with the hit. And then it travels out of bounds.
These teams are both working very quickly. Of course, when you have two teams that can kill at the rate that they do and also pound the ball like that, that's what's going to happen. You're going to see a fast-paced game.
Nate Howard tipping that one over. It's kept in bounds by Christopher Bruno originally and then tapped back over by William Gold. Yeah, getting a piece of that. Evan Calicia shot on the other side, violation on the Tigers, and we're back to a 1-point lead as Ryan Cuppernell will take to the serve.
The mark of a good team is if they're able to go from finesse shots to power shots. You saw them set up with Nate Howard on a touch shot, and then Calicia buried it home.
Calicia with the bury home there, got the serve back to his team, but too long on the serve by Ryan Cuppernell. Here's Nate Howard. And that's going to go in there. Deflection. It looks like it went off Ian Word. Ian Word, the top player for Ridgefield.
Something I have to say, I definitely would not be on the receiving end of one of those Nate Howard strokes.
Here's Tyler Swigard. Colicia setting up Broom Levy, then a setup for Matt Ward. Hammering one.
And he's excited. The good thing about boys volleyball is you always see enthusiastic over every point because of the stoppages, but you have to maintain that, and Ward, knowing that they're going for a second championship in a row, make your mark.
That's too long, and now for the first time here in game one, the Cheshire Rams have taken over the lead.
Great job of maintaining their poise. As we talked about, there was a sustained lead there for Ridgefield, but Cheshire really didn't falter.
Set up in front, Ian Word, unable to be denied.
He hit that ball hard enough that when they came up on the block, they were still low, so when you're on defense there, just have to be a little quicker.
And you see Ian Word, an outside hitter, 6 foot, but he's got some hops. Nate Howard, that corrals into the fans.
That's what we've been waiting to see from Brumlevy, just the perfect setup, getting those two hands up there to get it in Howard's vicinity. Doesn't even have to look, and then he slams it home.
Nate Howard now on the serve, and an errant play by Leopunov, and back-to-back points for the Cheshire Rams. It's now 13-11.
Ridgefield has to watch out. They're on watch right now because Cheshire has frustrated them enough to get a rally going here. If they can keep it going, they might get them out of the game early.
Colicia in there.
I'd like to see a timeout right now.
And you'll get a timeout.
Really important for Ladania and Gonzalez-Ciber to do that right now, just to calm her team down and to tell her leaders and Ward and also Gold to just keep the team from being frustrated.
So Ridgefield down by 4 after they were off to the hot start. Cheshire Rams holding on to that lead as we'll take a timeout. Here in game 1 of the Class L CIAC Boys High School Volleyball State Championship game. We'll be right back.
Presented by Subway. Eat fresh.
Well, just like that, a point after the timeout called by Ridgefield. They come in, score a point now on the serve for them. It'll be Eric Palmer. And that hits the back line for a point as libero Tyler Swigard let that one go for the Rams. And now,
good way to come out of the timeout, getting 2 points in a row. That'll be a tremendous gift and lift as well to their psyche to keep them going in this one.
Colicia, shot was deflected, then travels out of bounds. And Evan Colicia having a good game 1 here for the Rams.
He certainly has. As we said, going from those finesse shots to the power shots, have to have that kind of awareness. We're talking about a team that is very aware of where they've been in the last couple of years. He's been a big part of that.
Keeping that alive was Alfred Croakey. And unable, Brumlevy was there, but a strong hit by William Gold.
Down a point now, getting 3 out of the last 4 points. Maintaining the serve is going to be important. And obviously you look at Karl Lipinoff right there, but they're going to have to come back and react and get the slam on the next one.
He was on the serve. That just has to get pushed over. Now a set up, Gold on the outside. He's loving it.
And Croakey really impressed me there, imploring his libero to get on top of the ball and getting him really going there in Tyler Swigard. And that's an impressive thing. We talk about a team that's got 7 of 8 seniors that really play. They know how to keep it going, and they know where they have to be.
Tied at 15. Nice serve there by Karl Iapunov. And then Ryan Kuppernill takes that nice serve and meets the ball with the floor on the other side of the net.
Boy, Ian Gold plays every point like it's the last one. But on the other end, Kuppernill doing what he does best, you know? He could do those kills. He's great at the digs. He does everything.
Kept alive by Matt Ward. Brumlevy has to go out of bounds, keep it in. Kuppernill set up on the line, count it.
He's in a groove right now, and he has to keep that going. And remember, the last time we saw this team, he had those very important points. They've only been to 5 sets one time this year against Newington. Almost lost that game. It was 38 games at that point. And we talked to Ryan Kuppernill, who was the CPTV Sports Player of the Game, just for the reason that you saw there. In important moments, he rises up to the challenge.
He's trying to make another case for being player of the game here in the state championship game.
Look at that transition play there by number 15, Christopher Bruno.
Kuppernill switching hands there midair, sort of confusing the side of the Ridgefield Tigers, and the Rams up by 3 here in game 1. That was Ward on the serve. A palming of the ball by Iapunov. And now it's 19-15.
Ridgefield has to survive at the moment.
Smart play of Eric Palmer and Karl Iapunov to just get out of the way there. And Ridgefield after digging their way back. They'll give it a go here. That's Gold on the serve. Brumlevy with a quick hit to Kalichia. Actually, that was Planishek. Kept alive by Ridgefield, though. And a nice setup. Christopher Bruno onto the hands of Kevin O'Rourke.
Palmer saved that by getting that ball on the dig, then got a nice pass to Bruno, who even had a better touch pass there to get the point ahead for O'Rourke.
Diving attempt, and they're going to look to see if it was deflected. It was not. Ryan Kuppernill looking for an explanation on the side of Cheshire.
I think that Brumlevy has a case there. He's not all about being the setter and getting the assist. You saw a beautiful touch shot there, but I thought it induced a deflection, but I guess not.
As referees will come over and Danielle Ray and Shirley Brewer will talk it out.
Thing I like about boys volleyball, you get the captains over to discuss it. That way that you're not leaving them in a gray area where they're confused by the play that's happening in front of them.
So we'll see what the call is going to be. And the point goes to Cheshire. They argue. And LaDanya Saber is not happy on the side of Ridgefield about that call.
Well, it's a huge swing. It would have been 19-18, but now it's 20-17, but it's a right call. Sometimes you get frustrated that they change the play, but
she's saying that it might have went off the head of someone on Cheshire, it looks like. This play happened on the far side of the floor, nonetheless. Brumlevy with the serve. Now a setup, Ian Ward. And Ward capitalizes.
If you don't like the call, you just have to respond, and that's certainly a good thing that Ridgefield did in that regard. And you don't want to underscore the importance of Bruno setting another play up.
So now with Ridgefield down by 2. Here's Chris Bruno. Matt Howard. Nate Howard, excuse me, not Matt Howard.
You're thinking about our boy from Gonzaga.
Exactly.
Or excuse me, Butler.
From Butler, who almost hit the shot against Duke.
I made the same mistake last time that we had these two
Nate
gentlemen,
Howard.
so I understand that.
That goes out of bounds. Cheshire hitting that one long. Ryan Cupperno. So Ridgefield with an opportunity now. 21-19.
Keep the service game going. That's really the key at this point.
Galicia, deflection. It's going to happen for him. Violation on the side of the Tigers. So now it will be Tyler Swigard. Leopunov dug that out. Word skying high. But guess who's there? Evan Galicia.
You call that a stuff in this game. That's a return to sender by Galicia. Not only does he get the block, but getting the point.
So now Swigard again. Fought off by Gold, set up for Word. And Word gets the point.
You really don't have that much breathing room here in the set if you're Ridgefield, so the serves have to be extra special.
That comes back, just has to be played over by Cupperno. Here's Gold on the outside, too strong. And now Cheshire a point away from taking game number one.
That's a daunting task to have to deal with Nate Howard, and I think Cupperno was on the other side there, but two men over there that are very good players. Really hard for William Gold.
So Nate Howard, all 6'11" in all, had that serve. From Levy keeping it in. Here's Nate Howard. And what a keep alive there by Leopunov, but ending up palming the ball on the side of Ridgefield, a violation. Cheshire will win game one by a score of 25-20.
Cheshire just keeping it going there. We saw Ridgefield was a little bit of a pest in that set, but they dealt with the challenge and they moved on as the champion should, and that's going to be very good going forward in the next couple of sets.
So Cheshire trying to continue that 44-match winning streak, and they continue their unscored upon in games run here in the Class L Boys High School Volleyball Championships in the tournament here. So Cheshire up 1-0 over Ridgefield. We go to game two next. We go to game number two here from Cheshire, or from Shelton, excuse me, not from Cheshire. Cheshire in the mix, as they won game one over Ridgefield here in the Class L Boys High School Volleyball Championship game. Francesco Graziano alongside Sean McGrath as I collect my thoughts. It's a hot, steamy evening inside Shelton High.
I wonder why you're having trouble collecting your thoughts. I believe that's why. I mean, it is rather hot in this gymnasium. Obviously, conditions that you definitely expect if you've been playing boys volleyball. It's later in the year. You're not going to put together that air conditioning unit, but obviously we know that we just did the track championships together.
Right.
When you have warm weather like this, it keeps the body loose, and you really don't have to worry about the muscles tightening, so that helps them out. Plus with Cheshire
moisture can play a factor.
It can, and that's why you wipe off the court. But for Cheshire, they don't worry about these kind of things. They just worry about winning championships. And that's why Ridgefield, they have to use those games that they played earlier in the year against Darien and Staples to try to finish it off here and win a championship of their own.
So after one game, Cheshire has the 1-0 lead as we get set for game number 2. Once again, Cheshire has not lost a game in the quarterfinals or semifinals to reach this state final matchup.
And we talked to Sue Bavone. I believe you asked her what she had heard of this Ridgefield team or if she'd seen anything.
Right.
She talked about the 2 outside hitters, which is easy to talk about in Will Gold and Ian Ward, but we didn't see anything really from Kevin O'Rourke and James Alvarez in that first set. They're equally important. They're in that back row, but they're also kill artists that have been in the hundreds. They need to do that as well today.
Well, Ryan Cuppernill opens up game 2 with an ace. From the middle of the floor. And make it back-to-back aces. Leopunov couldn't dig that one out, traveled out of bounds.
How can you not be psyched if you're Cuppernill right now? It's all about getting the ball where it needs to be and making it appear like it's going to be the hardest shot ever. But right there, it dropped at the right point.
So he'll give it a go again. Oh, that was close to almost 3 aces in a row. From Levy setting up Planishek. Now he'll do it again for Nate Howard. And Howard, his shot fought off and a violation on the side of Ridgefield. So Cuppernill will stay on the serve. 3-0 early on here in game 2. If you're just joining us, Cheshire is up 1-0.
Great start for Cheshire. And it's obviously a daunting task going up against a team that's won 44 in a row, but you can't look at it as such, and you have to be aggressive like you just saw in that play.
We've seen that combination before. Bruno and O'Rourke teaming up for a point. So now it'll be Chris Bruno, the 6-foot senior on the serve. Will take it from the near side. Here's Nate Howard. It's kept alive. And then Word is blocked away.
Such team chemistry. And right now, if you're Sue Bavone, not much to be upset about. I could tell that right now she was just imploring them to keep going. I mean, what can you say to this team? Not much you can say. You just have to have them keep going to the spot that they've been in.
That's an ace. On the serve by the libero for Cheshire, Tyler Swigart. 5-1 here in game 2.
Swigart has obviously this advantage because he's on a great team, but he's more of an offensive-minded libero in the fact that he could definitely put on some quills as well.
Kulichia keeping it alive. Planishek having using the opposite hand there in the middle. Actually, that was Matt Ward. A dink over shot counts for Ridgefield.
Good point for them to stay alive in here, and now it's going to be all about maintaining the rotation that they like. You see O'Rourke ahead, but you're going to also want to have Ward move ahead as well to try to punish off some points.
And back-to-back points for the Tigers now as they try to string a little run together.
You know what would be good for them? As I mentioned, they were a little bit of a pest in the first part in maintaining the situation where they were close. They should play that role. I think that it's a role they could get behind and also frustrate Cheshire and then get aggressive towards the end of the game.
As he did so in game 1, Evan Kulichia coming up big there with a point on a strong hit. Excellent outside hitter. But a junior in a lineup of seniors.
He's been in a defensive position in a lot of these hits where he's coming from the middle row in the back and finishing it off.
What a dig out there by Ryan Cuppernill. Kulichia just playing it over now. And another dig That's kept alive by Nate Howard eventually. And a violation on the side of Cheshire, so that effort.
The old two-touch there.
Yep.
But you saw Howard keep it alive, Cuppernell. They're just in the zone right now. And obviously it's 6-4 and Ridgefield's still in it, but it's going to be hard-pressed to beat them if they're making plays like that.
That just tipped over by Ward. Here's Gold now. Fought off by Cuppernell. Colicia too far out of bounds, too far away from the net on that hit. Now only a 1-point lead for the Rams as Ridgefield, they're not just going to lay down. They're going to fight away in this game as they've done so all year long.
It's like a game of operation. You got to find the right spots, but you can't miss because you're playing a team that's lost and it's won 44 in a row. So if you're Ridgefield, you almost have to be perfect and hit it where they ain't.
And now we're tied. Ridgefield storming the way back after a slow start here in game 2. They're down a game to Cheshire. Their crowd coming alive. Their student section.
And they were down 5-1, so they've scored 5 of the last 6 points in this set.
Colicia gets it in there. And now he'll go back to serve.
It's a guy that never quits. He's been very active in this game. You know, where Howard and some other guys will have to come off. This is where you realize that Colicia is such an important player that gets overlooked sometimes, but he's been excellent all year.
A diving stab at that. Trying to keep it alive is Cheshire, and they do so.
How many times have they had 3 hits and they've kept it alive?
That hit goes sideways from William Gold. And Evan Colicia will maintain the serve. Swigard hitting that one high. Here's Cuppernell. Oh, if he gets set up like that with some room, you better watch out. Ryan Cuppernell.
And look at that, 3 straight points after they had given up the tie. And only a team like this that's been through the rigors of a tough schedule and being a champion before, they know how to deal with the adversity.
A little miscommunication on the side of Ridgefield. Adanya Saber will take a timeout here in game 2 with their team down 10-6. Cheshire with the advantage in game 1. They have the lead here in game 2. We'll be right back after this. Evan Colicia on the serve with his team ahead by 4 here in game 2. They already took game 1 over Ridgefield here in the Class L Boys High School Volleyball Championship game. Cuppernell blocked aside. Cheshire will give it another go. Jump over shot. Ray Brumlevy.
Hey, you don't always have to be cute and get some stylish points on the power shots. Right there, just getting what counts, and you could expect Cheshire to get those kind of shots, but look at Cuppernell on that one. Got up against the net and then backed up to make sure he was still in possession.
So Evan Colicia's run on the serves is over. Went too long on that. 11-7. Francesco Graziano alongside Sean McGrath. Shelton High School is where we're at here on CPTV Sports. Crossing the line there was Cheshire and Ray Brumlevy. So here is Eric Palmer on the serve again. Cuppernell. And like I said, when you give him an opportunity to get open like that and get a head full of steam towards that net, he's hard to stop.
And that's why you have to have selective hitting, because it's easy to say that you can get in position for these shots, but trust me when I say that these guys have had 4 years to learn how to have the shots that kind of make everybody go, wow.
There's violation on Ridgefield.
I can't tell you how important it is for Ridgefield to get the set. It's almost like the death knell if they go down 2-0, because there's only been one team this year to bring them to a 5-set scenario, and that was Newington that got him in the second game that they had to get him to that point.
Cupperno deflected in the front. Here's Gold now on the side of Ridgefield and sneaks it through.
You can always count on Gold to go nuts after a point, and rightly so. You want to keep that intensity up. Gold pretty good at setting that play up that he actually, he finished it, but as we mentioned, 137 kills for him. We know he could certainly have that kind of effect on the game.
Here's Cupperno, just thinking one over. And now that one's fought off, heads towards our way. It's hit behind the net. Alfred Croakey as the ball is heading towards where we sit at Shelton High. But the point goes to the Tigers. They're now down by 3 here in game 2.
That's a good play there by Brumlevy afterwards to do some disaster management and help his player, and Alfred Croakey laughed after that one.
That shot just tipped over. Played over by Cuppernill. Now set up for Gold. And Gold sneaks it through again.
He's got the can't miss kind of attitude with the wants to win. He's got such a will in his spirit to just keep it going, and that's what Ridgefield needs, because, as we mentioned, it's always tough playing against a team like Cheshire.
Well, you come in, you read all the newspapers around the state, no matter where you're at, everyone talks about the 44 match winning streak for Cheshire. You want to be that team to end it.
And that's why, as you say, Ridgefield has to embrace that challenge and realize, look, 44 others have come to make that attempt, but they failed, and we don't want to be just another statistic. And that's why you have to admire Will Gold, who literally the ball is in his hands right now.
Colicia keeping that in bounds. Here's Nate Howard. Off the deflection.
It's what Nate Howard's done so well in the last couple of games, managing his kind of hits, because you know you're going to hit it hard enough, but you want to make sure it doesn't go wide, so you try to get that deflection.
Here's Cupperno. Out of bounds. Let that one get away from him. 15-13 the score.
And they've been close in this one, has Ridgefield. It's not like they're getting blown out of this contest as it heads towards Cheshire trying to win a second one. And that's good game management by LaDania Gonzalez-Saber.
That one out of bounds. Cheshire gets back to serve. Having to go out of bounds there to play this one was O'Rourke, and that too long. Back-to-back points for the Cheshire Rams.
About 8 points away. Swigard laughing off some of that, some of those jokes that are being made about him. That's a good way to handle it.
Levy just having to play it over. Here's a setup. A block in front. Now here is Ward. Cheshire being fended off. Colicia pushing it over. And unable to get a timing on that jump was Kevin O'Rourke.
O'Rourke had the right idea there. Just couldn't finish it up. But you talk about the play that Matt Ward had to do there, going against 2 men and still recovering for Cheshire to get a point.
And that one blocked by Evan Colicia. Stayed in bounds. And that makes the score 19-13. We'll keep it here as a timeout called by LaDania Gonzalez-Saber. and Francesco. Cheshire seemed to be rolling along here in game 2. They won game 1. Ridgefield coming back a little bit. They just can't seem to get a string of points together for Ridgefield, and that's what they need to be able to get back into this game.
Ridgefield was able to do that in just the beginning of the game, but since then, you kind of go through the motions where you go against Cheshire, and you see Calicia coming from the back row, or a power shot from Howard, or Brumlevy just making a perfect dig, and it's tough to deal with, and that's really what Ridgefield's been going through, and you can't keep that momentum to string together points.
Brumlevy is the guy that's set up a lot of the hits we've seen by Ryan Cuppernill and some of the hard shots that he's had. It'll be Tyler Swigard, the libero now, serving it for the Rams. Out of bounds on the hit on the far side by Word. Ian Word, 6-foot senior, has hops. He can get up there. And that easy pickings. Kevin O'Rourke got set up nicely and made it count.
You could see why this team has gotten this far this year in Ridgefield. Bruno looks to be one of the best passers I've seen this year in the state of Connecticut. Just getting O'Rourke continually in the perfect position to make a spike.
Colicia, his shots deflected up high, kept alive by Ridgefield, played to the outside, and then this has to be hammered over there by Griffin Jones. Some bodies flying all over the place. Brumlevy setting up his buddy Matt Ward.
Just execution almost perfect at this point. The 21-14 lead represents that. And they're just going to have to keep it going. There's not much that you could say about Cheshire because sometimes you watch and you're so awed by their performances.
Gold now, hit it over. Here's Nate Howard, just trying a tip shot, didn't have enough on it.
And great job by Gold, and I believe that was, Alvarez, not to be afraid by Howard's power shot. They were going to get up on the line there, and they were going to create the block, even if it wasn't stuffed.
Colici on the outside. No doubt about it. 22-15. 3 points away from taking a 2-0 lead as Cheshire.
And right now, if you're Ridgefield, first of all, you got to survive the serve. But you want to get the ball towards the sidelines and in the back line so that you get it away from these hitters. That's what we've seen the service game for Cheshire work so exquisite today because they've been going right against that back line.
Here's a setup. Jones in there. Oh no, they're going to call a violation on the side of Ridgefield.
Got to be tough to deal with if you're Ridgefield, but again, got to move on, got to move past that initial error.
And Ladanya Saber not happy on the sideline of the Tigers.
Like I said before, can't go down 2-0. It's a lot to ask for, but you got to get some points here.
Well, they might change this call.
When you talk about point by point, as we talked about in the open, you're living and dying by that right now if you're Ridgefield.
So there's a little miscommunication on whose point it was. And it's going to be Ridgefield's point. So it's now 22-16.
It's a victory for them right now in that category, getting that point to their side and sustain it on the serve, and it could get you back into the set.
Here's Eric Palmer. From Levy to the outside, Cuppernill. Out of bounds. Too strong on that hit.
Couple of points in a row. If you look at how the team is currently constituted, you have a great back line, but you just want to get it in the right spot so you can hit it low enough.
Cheshire trying to win game 2. There's Ryan Cuppernell putting his team 2 points away from taking a 2-0 lead.
I feel like I've been hearing you call Cuppernell's name a lot because he's in the right spots when he needs to be, and he's been getting some kills tonight as well.
Smart move there by Ian Word to just let that go. So now it is Karl Liapunov. He's strong on his serve as the libero for Ridgefield. Kulichi on the back there. Now they'll set up Cuppernell. Nice diving save by Liapunov. Great effort. And his teammate and Kevin O'Rourke unable to keep it in. But Liapunov, only a freshman out there. He's just all over the place.
Great job. That's the kind of dig that you want to see, especially at this juncture of the game. But you can only do so much. Such a great hit there. Cuppernell surviving by that play where he was blocked, and they really answered there and responded in the right way.
So now Cheshire a point away from taking game number 2, goes to the Cheshire Rams by a score of 25-18. Cheshire is up 2-0 here in the Class L Boys High School Volleyball State Championship.
Look at Cuppernell on that play. He was there again with the block, stuffing it right back in Gold's face. And that's more important than anything because not only are you up 2-0 now, but Gold is the inspirational leader on that team, and that just speaks volumes to what's been happening in this game.
So Ryan Cuppernell trying to make his stake, his claim to be the CPTV Sports Player of the Game again. Have a chance to talk to Frankie, but we still have some more volleyball to be played. We're getting a little ahead of ourselves there because Cheshire's up 2-0. We will go to game number 3 coming up next. Can the Ridgefield Tigers fend off Cheshire? Because otherwise, if Cheshire wins game 3, they are the Class L state champs for back-to-back years. Come back for game 3 action next here on CPTV Sports. Ridgefield down 2-0 to the Cheshire Rams here in the CIAC Class L Boys High School Volleyball Championship game. Ridgefield, as I mentioned, down 2-0, has had flashes of brilliance in this. They got off to a hot start in game 1, but Cheshire battled back, and Cheshire pretty much controlled all the momentum there in game number 2, Francesco.
And right now, Ridgefield just going to have to try to get through this game before they even think about getting to a 5th stat. Cheshire's just been stomping out the miracle that Ridgefield hopes to get, and they've been doing it with a complete game. 7 of those 8 seniors featured have been playing all in a great spot. Nobody's been faltering, and as we've been talking about the whole game, just tough to deal with in that respect if you're Ridgefield, but okay, you got to be a man about it and soldier on.
So for Ridgefield, they're going up against a tough task here, down 2-0. Cheshire is a team that has won, as we all know, 44 matchups in a row dating back to last year when they won the Class L State Championship. They're trying to win it for the 2nd straight year. And Ridgefield also going against this Cheshire team as that one caroms over. That hasn't lost a game so far in the state tournament heading into this state championship game of Class L. So here's Chris Bruno again. Ridgefield out to the early 1-0 lead, but there he is again, Francesco Ryan Cuppernill.
God, this kid wants to win a championship today, and I certainly think he could be on the way with the way he's been playing. And if you're Ridgefield, you have to notice that as well. Obviously, he's been playing like a Superman today, but Ridgefield's got to make sure that they compound those mistakes by just getting into a spot where they can hit away from him at the moment, frankly.
The high arcing shot there by Cuppernill, an easy setup. And we've seen it a few times now, and it's worked almost every time they've had an opportunity. Chris Bruno setting up Kevin O'Rourke.
So you talk about making sure that Cuppernill's not in a position to beat you, and then on the other side, Bruno needs to be able to set up his player. He's been an excellent setter today.
Cuppernill keeping that in. Howard just shifting that one back over. Here's Word. He's blocked aside. Levy. Now set up for Word again. Just has to pop that over. A dig by Calicia. And that one's going to travel out of bounds. As a jumping attempt into the stands by Griffin Jones.
A long rally there, and the Tigers are still fighting very hard. They just had 3 men on the side there that kind of crossed up, and it really hurt them for the rest of that rally.
Tied at 2 here in game 3. 2-0 lead for Cheshire. That one hit into the net by Tyler Swigart. And now it'll be Ian Word. Out of bounds. I'm sure he'd want that one back. Kind of rushed the shot.
So now maintaining the serve, they got Howard. It's going to be tough to get him up front, but Calicia needs to be able to get on the block. A very important factor that Sue Bavone was looking at as a key to the game.
Easy pickings in the middle. Matt Ward hammering that one to the deck.
Another great move by him. It's just that you could look up and down the line. You have Croakey, Howard, Calicia, Swigard, Cuppernill, Bromlevy. They're all big parts, unless we forget Matt Ward and James Planishak.
Here's Nate Howard. He's had a quiet game. There's a setup again for Ridgefield. They'll try it again. And a palming of the ball on Griffin Jones.
Just getting in a perfect spot to where their hits have really been in places that the Tigers couldn't recover from. And that's obviously the name of the game, but Cheshire doing it well than everybody else, and you see it once again.
Ian Word frustrated after that one, got caught up in his hands there. And a 3-point advantage for Cheshire. Cheshire wins game 3. They win the Class L state championship.
Well on their way to doing that right now, just because of their performance has looked quite dazzling to the moment. But if you're Ridgefield, get in a position where you could be aggressive and rattle off some points and get Bruno involved.
And then Calicia is giving up the body there, sliding into the stands. Again, Griffin Jones for Ridgefield with a good effort. So now, Nate Howard, 6'11" in all. Here's Gold, fought off by Cuppernill. And the point will go to Ridgefield.
Good touch on the ball right there by Alvarez. You know, creeping around, they got to stick around, and those are the kind of plays they have to make.
So there's Eric Palmer. Low line drive shot. Croakey fought it off. Cuppernill found an opening and got it past Ian Word. 4-point advantage for the Rams.
And if you're LaDanya Gonzalez-Ciber, it's all about getting the guys in the right position right now, keeping that line in front that's been pretty successful. They have 3 men with 100 kills up on that front line, but just get them going by keeping it going and moving the ball around in the middle.
Cheshire, Colicia poking that over. Good volley back and forth. Gold. And he's still fired up. He is still fired up. His team is down 2-0. Will Gold hammering that one in, and he is animated still, and you got to love that if you're on the sides of Ridgefield.
That's what I'm saying. If you're on the side of Ridgefield right now, that's your most valuable asset is Will Gold, because it's not like he's out there really being immature or anything like that. He's doing his justice as a teammate and a friend of the rest of the guys on the team, of making sure that they're all in the game still, and he's actually performing very well at a high caliber level.
So here's Karl Leopunov. He has a very strong serve, as you can see, but it went into the fence. Oh, I guess you could call it a fence too. It went into the mesh in the volleyball net. And there's that combination when they've had the opportunity yet again. Bruno to O'Rourke. Count it.
O'Rourke with 116 kills this year. Obviously today that's increased over 120, but talking about a guy who gets 2 kills per game, but very all-around game. 61 blocks and 48 digs, using that size to his advantage.
And that's why Sue Bavone, right there, Ryan Cuppernell says he is their best player. You can see how he skies high and just, when he has an opportunity open like that, he doesn't let it slip by him too much.
That time Cuppernell, knowing that he's got the guys on the outside he's got to watch out for, so he just does his job of getting to the middle and slapping it into the middle on the other side as well.
I want you to take a guess at the combination of that point again.
Bruno and O'Rourke.
There you go. And now will be Chris Bruno after setting up his buddy Kevin O'Rourke on the serve.
Move quick if you're Ridgefield and get Cheshire away from the block so that you can get aggressive and have your version of the power shot.
And a violation on Ryan Cuppernell. So it's now 10-8. Cheshire still holding on to the lead in game 3 here. They have a 2-0 lead here in the Class L state championship game. Howard. No doubt about it, nothing you could do about that one. Sort of, when you see a 6'11" arm swinging down towards you and the ball coming at you.
Hit the deck.
Hey, watch out. At least we know that's what Francesco Graziano would do.
Hey, I don't shy away from any kind of competition, but game recognizes game.
Word, strong across the net. Now here's Colicia. He's blocked away, but it goes out of bounds. Point to Cheshire.
About halfway in the set to getting to the promised land. And you saw that they had the pregame jitters when we first started, to where Ridgefield kind of dictated the tempo of things, and they went up 8-6 in that first set, but since then it's been all Cheshire.
O'Rourke got it over for a miscommunication on the side of Cheshire.
You have to think that O'Rourke right now has to have at least 8 to 10 kills. He's done a terrific job. He's really been all of Ridgefield's offense at the moment, to which you have to ask, where's Ian Ward at?
Nate Howard out of bounds. Kevin O'Rourke, 6'3", senior. And that time, it wasn't going to go out of bounds for Nate Howard.
Like I said, we've seen him get angry when he needed to. I saw the thunderous look in his eye right there as he punished it, but look at how he looks now. He looks very calm and focused. That's managing the anger and really taking it out on your opponent when you need to.
Word in there.
Hey, remember when I said, where's Ian Ward? That was a very thunderous move on his part, too. He was answering. He's very angry at the moment right now, and I think he's going to let Cheshire know about it.
He's been fired up for a while over there on the side of Ridgefield. And they're going to violation on the middle there in Matt Ward. And now only a 1-point lead for Cheshire.
Lucky lane violation there, or net violation there, because he's taking an easy approach to this, and you can't give them easy shots because they could pound it home like they've been doing.
That was blocked back. And a net violation on James Alvarez for Ridgefield. So Ridgefield had an opportunity to tie it there, but they get whistled on the violation. Madanya Sever animated on the sideline there for Ridgefield. Room Levy just fighting that off. Here's a setup again. And it's going to be played off the ceiling. Good volley back and forth. Gold. He's fought off by Swigart. You got to let this one play out here. That's going to be too far from Will Gold.
Cheshire's not counting down the points right now. They're not doing anything like that. They're just staying to the game plan, which is what's gotten them there. And right now, if you're Ridgefield, don't hang your head. Get back up on it. A good switch there, as you saw. Be tactical.
And Nate Howard, a little unsure what he wanted to do there, as he'll check out and Alfred Croakey will come in.
Cuppernills have such a strong hold over his teammates, dictating where they need to be, and they hang on his every word, and you should when he's done this much for them this year.
Cuppernill's shot was diving down towards the floor. Gold for his team, keeping alive. Nice dig out by Ryan Cuppernill, but it's going to be a point nonetheless for Ridgefield. And Frankie, it's 15-14.
Another
Ridgefield
assist.
hanging around.
Another assist there by Bruno. He's just been so terrific tonight in doing that. Hanging around is what they do. You don't give up here. You keep it going.
That one going to be a point for the Cheshire Rams.
You also can't trade points, though, because that'll get Cheshire closer to that ever-promising number of 25.
Too long on that hit. 16-15. Cheshire up 2 games to nothing. They have an opportunity to win the Class L state championship in this game if they can hold on and win it. Right now, they're only up by 1. Ridgefield refusing to go away. Dig out there by Swigard. Cuppernill, he's blocked away. Croakey just has to play it. Check that, that's Kalicia that just had to play it over. And then there's a setup again of Bruno and O'Rourke. And Ridgefield ties it.
Certainly have to be excited. They're not giving up. Again, that combination where you see O'Rourke and company, they're moving it around. And now you finally get them to call a timeout. That's what you want to play the role of right now.
Subavone will take a timeout as the Cheshire Rams up 2 games to nothing, trying to close things out here in Game 3 and win a state title. But Ridgefield says, well, they have a different thought about that. 16-all. We'll go with more action here on game number 3. Cheshire up 2-0 as we take a break here on CPTV Sports. 16 all, and then Karl Liapunov into the net. Cheshire regains and leaves. We welcome you back inside Shelton High School. Francesco Graziano alongside. I'm Sean McGrath here on CPTV Sports. And Cheshire out to a 2-0 lead with an opportunity to win a state title here in Game 3. If they can hang on and overtake Ridgefield, who is refusing to go away without a fight. Cuppernhill. Too tough to play for Eric Palmer.
Wow. That is the best shot that I have seen and kill so far in this game. And the important factor, if you're a Cheshire fan, is we're 3 games in right now, and Cuppernhill just delivered the best shot of the game.
Some moisture on the floor as Ian Word will go wipe it down. Seems to be in that same spot over there. So whoever might be moving around and gets over to that spot that's perspirating a lot. And you see the fans on hand here at Shelton High School. Everyone anxious to see what the outcome's going to be. If you're Ridgefield, they want to keep this matchup going. If you're Cheshire, obviously up 2-0, you want to close it out here in Game 3. And that tip back shot doesn't work. Cheshire is there.
For Sue Bavone, she's wanted these guys to get on the block. And you see right there, it was Planencheck and Cuppernhill that were right in front of the net, and they were there to take the task.
Word is poking it over. It's poked back into an open area by Boomlevy, and then Kevin O'Rourke and his teammates, as now Will Gold will go back to serve.
You have to rattle a few off here if you're the Tigers. Can't mess around anymore. Not that they have been. They've been playing a very tough competitor, but it comes down to this.
That's dug out, but goes out of bounds off the hands of Tyler Swigard, and it's 19-18. Cheshire holding on to a 1-point lead. Have a 2-0 lead in this matchup though. Boomlevy off the ceiling, just has to be played over. Up in front, and that's going to be another point for Ridgefield. They tie it at 19.
Not giving up, and it's all on the shoulders of the man who's serving it right now, and Will Gold. But Cuppernhill hitting the deck once again, going for a dig. Put it in the right spot, and you don't have to worry about him hitting it.
Here's Will Gold again, trying to put Ridgefield ahead. Boomlevy setting up Cuppernhill, tip over shot. Doesn't happen. Ridgefield takes the lead for the first time here in game number 3, and they needed it.
Might be a timeout kind of situation, only for the fact that Cheshire has slowed up a little bit and tried to be a little too fancy on their last few points, if not for the fact that they're a little tired.
Cuppernhill shots fought off. Word on the far side, in there!
4 points in a row, Ridgefield. Gold looks like the Terminator right now. He's so focused.
He's in the zone in the middle of the floor here at Shelton. That one over, just dug out, and an easy slam down!
It's like
Kevin O'Rourke!
It's a feeling of euphoria right now for the Tigers in the fact that they could have easily gone into that good night, but they don't want to quit. Playing point by point is their philosophy, and they're certainly executing that at the moment.
So Ridgefield taking over the lead here in Game 3, 22-19, refusing to go away. The Cheshire Rams still up 2-0. Francesco Graziano alongside. I'm Sean McGrath as the crowd has come alive for the Ridgefield Tigers. And they are willing their team back into this game. They have the lead now, and they are in the driver's seat to try to take this Game 3 and hold off, at least for now, or try to battle back against this very strong Cheshire team who's won 44 matchups in a row.
how can you not get excited if you're the Ridgefield fans? Your leader on the court is going absolutely nuts at the moment. And he apologizes to the judge for his actions, but no need to apologize. He's been able to really manage that emotion and getting the good serves off, and that's where they've been doing well in this game.
So here's Will Gold with the serve. That goes into the net, and a missed opportunity to add to that lead for Ridgefield. Now up by 2. Cheshire with the lead.
Here's where Cheshire can act like a champion if they want to grab that title for the second time in a row. Be aggressive, get up on the line, and hit it as hard as you can.
And they do! What a save from out of bounds by Karl Leopunov. And then it's brought home for a point. 2 points away from taking Game 3 and keeping this matchup going is Ridgefield.
Leopunov just as important to the success as Will Gold or Bruno has been tonight.
And blocked. It goes inbounds on the near side. We weren't sure what the call was going to be, and now Ridgefield a point away from keeping this matchup going and going to a Game 4.
What a block by Griffin Jones. And that kind of a block where you roof it like that, it's really intense because you have to time the jump correctly.
Cuppernill's shot kept alive. Ridgefield outside, Word. His shot's fought off, and Ridgefield will keep it going. There's a violation on the side of Cheshire. Stay where you are sitting. Ridgefield winning game number 3 by a score of 25-20.
They didn't quit. They were down in that one where it looked like Cheshire might be walking home and running home with that title, but wow, not giving up after every point. And Will Gold, I'm really impressed by that young man's actions.
Hang on to your hats, folks. Ridgefield Tigers trying to make this go to an elusive Game 5. Can they do so, or will the Cheshire Rams come away with back-to-back state championships? We'll find out next as we go to Game 4 here on CPTV Sports. Welcome back inside Shelton High School. Francesco Graziano alongside. I'm Sean McGrath. If you're just joining us, Cheshire is up 2-1, but Ridgefield trying to claw their way back in, winning game number 3 and holding off a state championship for Cheshire. or trying to get their way back to winning one themselves.
And I think there was a turning point in that set where it was.
Okay, Cheshire, let's go.
So here's Ryan Cuppernill. Ridgefield riding the wave right now. Howard just dunking that down. The 6'11" guy, you're not going to stop that.
Yeah, and it was 19-17 in that last set, and Cheshire a little fatigued at the moment. Didn't really work for them, and they had to try to get into a position where they were trying to get some easy shots over, and that's really what spurred them.
As we fix our graphic here, it is 1-1 now here in game number 4. And a serve here by Chris Bruno. Broomlevy setting up Nate Howard, and Leopoldov keeping that one going. Word comes across with it. Excellent job by Ridgefield there. Kalichi is blocked. That's pushed over by Brumleve, and there's Leopoldov again, giving up the body, even though that one goes out of bounds. I've been really impressed with the athleticism of Karl Leopoldov. The only a freshman all over the place out there for Ridgefield.
He doesn't look like a Nate Howard in the fact that he has that.
Well, he's only 5'8", Nate Howard.
Exactly,
6'11".
and he doesn't have that opportunity to derive the power that he can from his body, but he's been great. And Griffin Jones dives for every single loose ball, almost taking out an official before, and now he gets a point.
Griffin Jones picks up that point. Ridgefield back with the serve. It's like a new Ridgefield team after they lost the first 2 sets. They're still down 2-1. Here's a setup. Howard gets it across. So Nate Howard coming to life a little bit here in game number 4. And now he'll be on the serve.
And that's where he's been playing. He plays on the serve in those situations where he's either up front or he's serving himself. But when Ridgefield was on that run at the end of the last set, he wasn't there. They kept him off the court, and they need to keep doing that.
An ace there by Nate Howard. Cheshire up 4-2. And another ace. Cheshire with that 44 matches in a row that they've won. Trying to repeat as Class L state champs. That's in there. The backline referee there, the back judge, Frank Lancaster, saying that's in.
Coming out the same way they did in the second set where they dominated. And they were up at a 19-14 clip in that set too. So
and in there, Planishek in the middle.
You can see right now where Cheshire is getting into that zone, and like I said, it's because Nate Howard's able to do that. They need to give Cuppernill a spell right now, and that's why they need another aggressor in Nate Howard.
Ladanya Gonzalez-Saber take a timeout with Ridgefield and her team down 7-2 here in game 4. They're down 2-1, so they need to win here. Otherwise, if Cheshire wins this game, they are the 2012 Class L state champs in boys high school volleyball. We thank you for joining us here on CPTV Sports. Inside Shelton High School, Francesco Graziano, I'm Sean McGrath. A very hot and steamy Shelton High School. Very muggy in here. Good crowd on hand for both sides. The student section, number-wise, is in favor of Cheshire, but Ridgefield still bringing out a good crew for this one.
But the hotter it is, the better the party, I guess. Everybody excited. You see the Ridgefield Tigers going with more of a luau vibe rather than the white out on the other side.
Everyone that walks by us, too, they must be going through tons of bottles of water because all the fans, that's all they're getting. Bottles and bottles of water. This one goes right towards us. I made the catch.
Yeah, I figured you wanted to brag about that a little bit. It was a nice catch.
I was ready for that one. I've been ready for one all year.
You're playing outfield there, but that's a good point for Ridgefield in the fact that Cheshire wasn't able to defend that one, and that's becoming a recurring theme for them, and Ridgefield getting themselves in that kind of a position.
Nice dig by Swigard, and then goes off the body of Brumlevy. And after the timeout by Ridgefield, they start calling their way back.
And Griffin Jones has gotten 3 out of the last 4 points, 3 out of the last 5 points that Ridgefield has scored in this match.
From Levy over to Cuppernill. There's a setup. Gold. Cuppernill was there. Calicia off the feet of Chris Bruno.
The lone junior on this team that plays. Calicia has had such a clutch mark, and right now that's needed because I could see that Cuppernill's legs behind him are getting stringy, and he looks very tired, but he's still playing. He made a dig on the last play as well.
Here's Cuppernill. I didn't look
He
weak
says,
there.
He says, "Shut up, Frankie. I'm still in the game. You don't need to worry about it."
As he puts his team up 9-4, that was deflected. So Evan Calicia will stay on the serve.
The intestinal fortitude in that gentleman, phenomenal.
Gonna be a tough play at the net, and last touched by Cheshire before it went out of bounds. So Ridgefield takes over after getting the point.
I thought there was going to be a net violation, but I guess the touch occurred before that.
Cheshire up by 4 in this one. 2 games to 1, they have the advantage. And that was James Planishek.
That was important because Cuppernill had gotten it over, but right in defiance, the Tigers hit it back, and then Planishek said, "Nah, take that."
So here's Tyler Swigart. And that's there. James Alvarez, who's been quiet this game, picks up a point.
Mention how in the last game that Ridgefield can't trade points, but they did, and they got back in that one.
They proved you wrong.
And they were in the point-by-point kind of scenario, but you can't give up any kind of points right now, which is why I was worried for that Ridgefield team, but they're taking care of business right now, TCB.
Leopoldov was long on that hit. So now is be Ray Roomlevy on the serve. Ridgefield hitting that across into an open area. Make it 11-7.
I like to watch Ray Blumlevy because everything he does is absolutely calculated with every hit, but a lot for Ridgefield to be happy about that they're still alive in this game, and they might be able to come away with this set.
Nate Howard, no chance there for a return by Ridgefield. So now Ryan Cuppernill.
You have Calicia, Ward, and Howard up on that line. You worry for the Tigers' chances.
And that's blocked by Howard, but went out of bounds off the strong hit by Ian Word. As the temperature rises in Shelton High School, the enthusiasm rises from both sides.
And the play seems to be getting better as a result.
For Ridgefield, if they're going to make the comeback in this matchup, they're going to have to eliminate some of those mistakes they've had on the serve from time to time. They have to almost play some flawless volleyball against a strong Cheshire team.
They do hit the ball long and in a low position to where the bigs that are slamming at home can't get it. And also, we haven't seen any of Christopher Bruno in a while, and he's done an excellent job to get O'Rourke going.
It's been that good combination of Chris Bruno and Kevin O'Rourke, Frankie, that combined for a lot of points there in Game 3 to keep Ridgefield alive in this matchup.
But you also can't forget that competitive spirit that's gotten them here from the likes of Will Gold and once again Griffin Jones.
Griffin Jones. He scores a point, and his teammates kind of have to pull him away because they don't want him to get too overexcited.
The referees have been very lenient because he's not going to match the intensity no matter what he does of his teammate Will Gold.
Cuppernill too long. Ridgefield will get the serve back. Again, down by 4.
But something we talked earlier, it's about being in a position where you could be a pest if you're the Tigers and be a little annoying to the Cheshire so you could survive.
Nate Howard.
If the Tigers can hang around long enough, they're going to frustrate the heck out of the Cheshire Rams.
Kind of like how you do to me all the time.
Oh, of course. I wouldn't have it any other way.
5-point lead for Cheshire as that one got a piece of the net. Kept alive. And a violation, that's going to be on Griffin Jones. Point goes to Cheshire. So now we'll get a little moisture off the floor, will Chris Bruno.
I'd like to see them use a different towel every once and again. You use the same one. How successful is that going to be in getting the moisture off?
I don't know. It's going to get too wet. It'll just make the floor even more wet.
But
you know who could use a towel right now? You.
What are you talking about? I'm the picture of cool and elegance right now.
That's why I love you, Frankie.
Anyway, looking at LaDanya Gonzalez-Ciber, who is wearing a nice scarf and looks very calm and collected right now, not panicking even though her team is down. She needs to keep them in the going in the respect that they need to be able to maintain that intensity they've had all game.
And she is going to call a timeout. 17-10 the score. Cheshire up 2-1, trying to win game 4 here. So they can win back-to-back Class L state championships. We'll be back with more action here in game 4 on CPTV Sports. Shelton High School, Class L state championship game of boys high school volleyball. Cheshire up 2-1 as James Planishek getting, oh no, they're going to call a violation. So point will go to Ridgefield, that just called a timeout. Smart timeout, they are down 7.
It's a great play because they get Howard out of the game. It's the little things that have been working for Ridgefield. And like I said, plenty of times that they could have rolled over and died in this game, but certainly still alive.
Well, Planishek capitalizes on that time around.
But then again, when the 11th hour comes and you realize that you're playing such a force, how long do you have?
Until the clock strikes midnight. I get it.
There's a joke in there somewhere, right?
Probably. Cumpernell setting, they're going to call him on the palm. So now the score will be 18-12. Cheshire won game 1, 25-20. They won game 2, 25-18. Ridgefield stormed their way back and won game number 3 to keep this matchup going, 25-20. And in game 4, we stand at 19-12. Francesco Graziano alongside, I'm Sean McGrath here on CPTV Sports.
Gut check time. If you're Ridgefield, that's exactly what I was going to ask for. You need Bruno in that front line to make those passes to Alvarez. And listen, those aren't easy passes because in order to pass to a gentleman on the front line, mate, with you, you have to be able to make a quick tap. That's just an amazing pass.
So here's Cumpernell on the outside, in there.
I think he's had enough time to rest and get into position because Cumpernell putting one home at the right time. Now 5 points away from a state championship once again.
The Cheshire Rams trying to make it 45 matchups in a row, which would be a school record. They're tied with their girls team right now at 44 in a row. And they're They're 5 points away as Ridgefield will get it back. And there it is, Will Gold, who led his team back in game 3.
He wants to
on the
restore.
serve. Yep.
He wants to restore the roar for the Tigers. He's that guy that would be able to do it.
A mishap from Levy.
And again, hanging around. That's kind of been their MO in this game. Can you imagine if they could do that all the way into going to a 5th set?
Well, we'll see what they can do here. Will Gold, 6'1" senior. They're going to get a new volleyball in the mix. Having to hit this serve with the Cheshire faithful right behind him.
That's why this school in Shelton High School has so much character.
And maybe the crowd played a part there as Will Gold into the net.
Well, you saw him take a while to take that shot, so you know that certainly could be a factor.
There's a new volleyball, too.
And why you always advocate it. And speaking of volleyballs, it seems like the Ridgefield team had trouble finding their own lot at the beginning of the game, but something that they've had to overcome. I think they don't have to worry about that. They have to worry about Cheshire in front of them.
Colicia errant on that shot. So Ridgefield and Chris Bruno. Here's a setup for Colicia, and that's a point for Cheshire. And going back to serve will be Matt Ward.
They don't want to get back to the point where they could have clinched this game in the last set. They could have clinched the championship, and they had to defer a little bit. They got to keep the aggression going, as we talked about would be a focal point for them today.
Leah Punov doing a good job of taking that carom off the ceiling. Nate Howard. He scampered over from the near side here, came to the middle to dink that shot over.
That's a play that you would expect from Ray Brumlevy, who's celebrating and kind of reenacting it on the other side. But Howard coming from the back line and sneaking over with a little touch. Dazzling.
2 points away are the Cheshire Rams from back-to-back state championships here in Class L. Matt Ward awaiting his turn to serve. Here's the setup, and Ward's shot was deflected out of bounds. Ridgefield still hanging in there.
Like a pest. That's what you have to do at this point. You have to stay in it.
The only way to go about
They're
it.
not going to give up, because if you give up, then obviously you're going to lose the championship. But everything that you fought for will have gone down in vain if you don't keep going.
That travels out of bounds. Ridgefield still staying alive.
But what we had seen earlier, actually in the last game, was Ridgefield hang around to where they made it 19 and 17, and then they went on a run. They need to get a couple of points so they can do that again, because if you give up one more point, you're at match point and you start staring down the barrel of that gun.
23-18, Cheshire hanging on to the lead. They had an opportunity to win a state championship here in Game 4. Can Ridgefield come back and tie things up with 2 games apiece? Come back and find out as we have a timeout here on CPTV Sports. Back here, Shelton High School on the serve. Kevin O'Rourke, his team down 23-18. Championship on the line. Colicia was on that hit. Word. Sneak it in between Howard and the net. Here we go again, Francesco. Latter parts of Game 3. Ridgefield battled back, took Game 3 to keep this matchup going, and they're right in the mix here again.
Boy, Cheshire couldn't have played that any better. They drove them into that block, but then they hit the line.
And Word In there.
Talk about the clutch factor, getting the kills when it matters most. That was word right there.
Here's Kevin O'Rourke. There's a setup. Howard. That's in there for a point. The Ridgefield fans don't like it. Frank Lancaster with the call as the line judge. And Cheshire.
I thought it was
point.
long. I thought it certainly was there. But you think about it, if you're Ridgefield, you can't put yourself in a position to get back by a blown call.
There's Nate Howard on the serve. Word. Off of Swigards. Kept alive by Cuppernill. Just going to have to play it across as Howard. Here's a setup. Word. It's fought off and will go out of bounds in Ridgefield. 24-21. Cheshire still only 1 point away from taking game 4 and taking the Class L state championship.
You talk about having to play perfect volleyball all game. Now you're forced to do that the rest of the way if you're Ridgefield.
Colicia. Point. Cheshire. Class L championship for back-to-back years. Goes to Cheshire off the arms of Evan Colicia.
What an exciting moment for them. 45-game win streak. And if you're the girls of Cheshire, that's something that you're going to have to want to celebrate with them and really take that as an accomplishment. They fought the whole way, got the men going up front and in the back. It was really a team game. 7 of 8 seniors enjoying another championship.
Back-to-back years, the Cheshire boys volleyball team has won the Class L state championship, winning that final game by a score of 25-21. So we will take a break for a moment. When we come back, we will wrap things up here from Shelton High School. Francesco Graziano will have a post-game guest for us as well. As once again, the Cheshire Rams are Class L state champs by a score of 3-1 over Ridgefield. We're back with the post-game next.
If everyone would please turn their attention to the center court for the trophy and medal presentation. How about a nice round of applause for an unbelievable boys volleyball Class L state champion. Introducing the runner-up, Ridgefield Tigers. When I call your name, please step forward to center court, where CIAC representative Bob Blair and tournament director Chip Dorwin will present you with your well-deserved medals. Adam Hewitt, Nicholas Langone, Eric Sear, Ian Word, Christopher McLean, Leah Panu, Griffin Jones, William Gold, Paul Cook, Eric Homer, Christopher Bruno, Harold Bruno, Tyler Chittenden, David Linder, Kevin O'Rourke, James Alvarez, Jonathan Hicks, assistant coach Vera Gonzalez, and head coach of the Ridgefield Tigers, Ladiana Sabiri. Have a nice round of applause for the Ridgefield Tigers in a well-played match. Will head coach Ladiana Sabiri and her captains please come forward to accept the runner-up trophy. Congratulations, Ridgefield, on a well-played tournament. Now for your 2012 CIAC Boys Volleyball Class L State Champion, Cheshire Rams. Please step forward to receive your championship medal when I call your name. Alfred Croakey, Nate Howard, Evan Polachia, Damon Zamidi, Zihan Zhao, Nick Perdion, Tyler Swigard, Ben Gallo, Luke Yasuda, Bo Bartone, Ted Lee, Ryan Kuppernoff, Ray Pernevi, Scott Romano, Anthony Carbone, Matt Ward, Patrick Linder, James Planencheck, assistant coach Jared Oguma, and head coach Sue Malone. Will head coach Sue Malone and her captains please come forward to receive the CIAC Championship Trophy. Congratulations to the Cheshire Rams.